I am so excited for today's video. As you guys can see, we are continuing the birthday celebration this month with another special guest, and I'm super excited because we have the amazing Keke from Book Vybez. Hey, Keke! Hey! Oh my goodness, I'm so excited you're here. Thanks for joining me.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
I know we are going to have so much fun today because we are doing the ABCs of manga. So before we begin, how did you feel it was doing this challenge? Like, how is it getting all of the alphabet, or, well, our sections of the alphabet?
Well, to be honest, I thought it would be harder. I actually did. And then as I started going through the list, I was like, oh, I do have I do have all of these, despite me just starting to collect, I have letters that will go and things that I've actually read to actually put on the list, because I was like, I haven't read that, but I actually have. I did have a difficult time with some of the letters because I've read so many that were so good in that letter, but besides that, it wasn't too bad. It was actually pretty easy.
That's awesome. And I had that same struggle. In fact, I think it was for the letter K that I had like 2 or 3, and I was like, I don't know which one to do. I was like, I think I'm pretty confident in this one. So if I have K, I can't remember, then I'm going to go with this one unless we just get to it. And I'm like, no, I'm going to go back to the other one that I had.
Right. I did that this morning. I was like, nope, this is it.
Yes, I did the same thing. Like, I wrote out my list and I still switched it up when I actually went to choose them off of my shelf this morning.
Yep.
I'm glad it's not just me that does that.
Right.
Well, cool. Am I starting us off with the letter A? Is that what we said?
Yes, I hope so, because I am starting with B. So
okay, well, cool. Well, I will go ahead, and this was not the one originally I was going to feature. I was definitely going to do Asadora because that series is so good.
It really
but
is.
This is one that I recently saw. Let me just say what it is, and then I can ramble about it. But it is, all right, bear with me. It's Ishii Teruse Baby. I think I said that right.
That's a lot.
Isn't it? So this is like definitely an older shoujo title, and I literally just picked the series up from my library this morning. So my plan was to actually buy this. I found it, and I went to get it. Well, actually, I more like debated if I should get it, and then somebody bought it before me. So I went ahead and checked out like the whole series from my library, and I'm really excited because I blame Anya from Spy Family of getting like interested, where like you have like the main guy where there's a certain way, then the kid totally disrupts their whole life and makes things that much better. So I wanted to feature this one because of that.
Well, that sounds cute, and believe it or not, I'm not anti-shoujo, but I'm very interested in that because it doesn't sound like the typical trope for me. It has to be different, for me to actually read it. So
yeah, same here. And I'm curious because this guy's supposed to be like a playboy of sorts, and the first one, like I think the premise is that her mother disappears, and so she comes to live with his family, and everybody's like, well, you're going to take care of her. And he starts to take care of her and starts to really care for her. But like the girls that have a crush on him at school are not happy that she's basically taking his time away from them. And that's where I think the drama comes in. Like, I don't know exactly what they do, but it does say that they play dirty to try and get him back. So I'm like, hopefully nothing happens to the cute little girl.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
Yes. So I chose the first manga that I ever bought, and that's Beastars.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, I absolutely love Beastars. I didn't think I would. Now, it started out with the anime. I saw the anime, pandemic happened, and I was just watching all sorts of things, and I started watching this, and I was like, that is so cool. And then I was like, oh, there's a manga for it. And I grew up where manga was popular, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it out. And I'm going to tell you, I struggled. I could not read. I didn't understand right to left, but this is such a good story. It has so many twists and turns, and I think if someone's a first-time reader of manga like myself, this would be a good place to start. So one of my favorites, and this is my very first one right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. I love that. My sister is really into that. I don't think she's read the manga, but I know she adored the anime so
Yeah.
much, and she's seen it a few times. Is there a second season that's out for it?
There is a second season, and that's where things start getting, I don't want to say darker, because it's kind of dark anyway, because it's um I would say it's kind of political. It
Mm.
depends on how you look at it, because you can look at it as a political thing, you can look at it as a love story, you can
Yeah.
look at it as just a story about him and his life development. There's so many different angles to it. But the second half is, it kind of brings everything together, because it starts out with one of his friends. He was murdered.
Oh
That
my
sounds
God.
so bad, but he was murdered because
Yeah.
they live in a world where there's carnivores and there's not omnivores, herbivores,
Yeah.
and the carnivores can't eat meat, so they're just kind of there with all this food around them, and they
Yeah.
have to eat like pretty much, what is it, vegan type meals, vegan meat, and this is what they're going through. And so, and the herbivores are like, oh yeah, we would float around, and there's kind of a prejudice going on. So you have that element.
Yeah.
So, the second season kind of brings you back around and go, oh, who actually did it? What carnivore actually slipped up and was like, I'm gonna eat this guy. So it's sad, but there's a lot of really funny parts. There's a bunch of like side stories in there talking about how this. I'm sorry, I'm getting too deep into it, but
No, you're
a
great.
group
You're
of
great.
chickens, were talking about their egg quality, and so they would sell the eggs, and that's with the carnivores. They would eat the eggs because that is a protein.
Yeah.
So they were talking about, oh yeah, he comes and eats my eggs because they're good quality. It's just, there's some funny parts. So there's so much
Yeah.
going on in this manga. I think you'll get a lot. Like if you're interested in the dark side, if you're interested in love, because he falls in love with a herbivore.
Oh,
So it's just, a lot of things going on in Beastars. I think it's a good place to start.
yeah. I will have to put that on my TBR because you sold me on
Do it.
that. That sounds
Yeah, do
really, really cool. Yeah, that is awesome. Well, talking about sort of, I guess, like unique manga and like that's sort of different, and I don't know how to tie it in, but for C, I did cells at work because
Okay.
I never knew that I could ship two different cells together. Like, it shouldn't work. And I mean, technically, I don't think they're ever canon. I don't know that for certain,
Mm.
but I love this manga. Like, this was one of like my surprise manga, and then I feel like it's sort of like Beastars where it has a lot of different things, and I feel like you sort of like learn fun things about the body just in a unique way that's very creative. And I think it's so cool when like I've met friends that or met people who are like they took like biology or physiology and they're like cells at work help me ace my exam. Like,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, like how many manga can people say help teach them? Because
Right.
I know my friend Hannah said that happened. She's like, I was not doing well, and she's like, I decided to try cells at work, and she's like, it's how I was able to remember different things. So I think that's really cool for that reason
That
too.
is really cool. I've actually watched one episode,
Really?
and I actually really enjoyed it. But it was at a time where I had so many anime on my list. But I
Oh,
may go back to it because it was like, and I could see how that would work, because you're sitting in there, you're doing a test, and you're like, oh, this character did this, and they did this, and this
yes.
together, and oh yes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
it is very accurate. So
Yeah, it's crazy that like a friend of mine was asking how many like spin-offs there are, and when I looked, there's like 6 to 7 different like spin-offs of the original
oh
Cells,
wow,
where you have like I think it's like Cells at Work Baby, you have Code Black, the
mm,
Bacteria, White Brigade. Those are the ones I know, but like
I
it's
didn't know.
I didn't realize quite how popular it was, and I need to catch up on the second season because I've seen the first season twice, but I haven't actually watched the second season. I'm like, I love these characters. Like, why haven't I like just started? And I think it's just because there's so many amazing anime that are out right now that's like hard to like pick and choose which ones to actually like watch right now.
It's like so little time. You're like, I want to commit to so many, but I
Yeah.
understand. Yes.
Yeah. So Cells at Work, I was really happy to feature and I love White Blood Cell. And I would say I'm Red Blood Cell, like the way she gets lost is me. That is so me.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, well, For D, I chose. Oh, and this is a title right here.
Oh.
Dead Dead Demons, Dead 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 Destruction.
Oh my goodness, is that the name of it?
Yes, it's Dead Dead Demons, Dead 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 Destruction. I got
Oh,
it.
oh my goodness.
This is a piece by Inio Asano, and Inio Asano is very known for Goodnight Pun Pun.
Oh,
Pretty much, he's known for that. I think there's a few others that he's known for, but that's the main one.
yeah.
And he's known to have very depressing, very reality, psychological type things. But this is not like that. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
That is more of a sci-fi. It's like a day-to-day life, so it's almost like a slice of life, but not. There's more adventure. You are seeing the characters, their day-to-day life and their struggles, but it ties it back around. So it's basically about how these group of people just live their life after being invaded by aliens. So
really,
they're going day to day in Tokyo, and there's the alien ship just hovering above, their land, and they're just going on about their business, like, oh, there it is. And every once in a while, you'll see like they'll find like alien ship parts, and they'll like grab the parts, or they'll have encounters with aliens, and then it'll take you to the alien colony, and then you start really seeing deep into the alien colony and seeing what their actual intentions were, and everything, it's not what I expected, and there's a whole big twist to it. And I read this maybe in a couple days. I bought all of my Mercari, and I just binged, like went straight through them. And it's just so much fun to read. You fall in love with the characters. It's funny, it's sad, it's very sci-fi. There's a lot going on, and I'm very proud of it, because Goodnight Pun Pun is it's sad.
it's sad.
It's a little depressing. It's not like soft sad, but it's like, this will not bring you down. You'll be happy after reading a volume of this. So
cool.
Dead Dead Demons, Dead 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 Destruction.
I'm gonna have to check that out, because that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, and I love the covers. The covers are really nice. So.
Oh, so yeah, does it have like a like touch to it at all? Or
yes, there's you see the
the
glossy, and it's pretty much 3D, and it opens up.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh my goodness.
So they're really nice. Yeah, so it's basically that.
Oh, that is so
the covers
cool.
are really the covers are really nice. So
awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. I am very curious. And talking about being curious, for letter E, I'm doing this in honor of my friend Sarah, because she has been talking about it, how good it is, and tweaking a little bit. Earl and the Fairy. It's technically called The Earl and the Fairy, but I was like, let's take off the T or the A. So.
Trust me, I have something like that too. I was like, that's not a word.
I'm glad it's not just me that did that. I have finally the whole series for my library. I kept having this problem where like I would put a like volume on hold, and they kept sending me volume number 1. I was like, I've already got it. Like I thought I was getting like, I think it was volume. No, I think I had the issue of volume 2, but I was looking for volume 1. So I'm hoping to finally start this, because she's a fairy doctor, and something happens where she ends up not with him like romantically, but he steps in the picture, changes her whole life around. And I think she has to like pretend to be his date or of sorts, and it's like help protect her. But I think, of course it's a shoujo, so there's going to be some romance that comes into place at some point. So I did not know until recently, like that in Japan, that these are light novels, and that there was also like this manga. So I was like, I didn't realize like there was all of this like more to the world, I guess, if that makes sense. So
you know what, and I found that a lot of the fantasy, especially the older fantasy, has a light novel somewhere, and I think I would be more open to read light novels that are like fantasy romance or something like that, because you get all the details. It's not just like pow 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 pow. Sometimes with manga, it seems like it's like boom boom boom, and you're like, what? But how did we get here? Like, so
especially I'm trying to think of one. There was one like that I read, that it was like the light novel came first and then the manga, and I know where it's at. Well, I don't know where it's at on my shelf, but I I was reincarnated as a villainess in an anime game, but the boys love me anyway. That's a really long title.
Wow. You really said that.
Yeah.
You did it.
Only because I read volume 2 recently, and that's the only reason I can remember the whole thing. But yeah, that one was a light novel, and the manga was really good. But at the beginning, I feel like there's things happening where we just sort of jump around. And I'm like, I feel there's supposed to be more to this, but I don't know like what it is. So yeah, I definitely agree that, yeah, it's times like those that I wish we did have like the light novel, though hopefully this one will stand alone on itself really well, and I won't have, that same.
Right. You won't be wondering like, what happened?
Yes. Yeah. So hopefully or soon I could also read this one. I feel like my TBR pile has only like grown, and you've only done 2 titles so far.
Oh my goodness. I don't even want to talk about this year's TBR. I have so much, and I'm like, am I gonna have time?
Yes. And then there's more newer stuff that's coming out that sounds just as amazing. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
So for F, I chose The Flowers of Evil by Shuzo Oshimi. This title, wow, I have never been so shocked in my life at how deep this gets psychologically. The work that I'm going into has to do with mental illness and different things like that, working with kids and different things. And I absolutely adore psychology in any aspect.
That's awesome.
This made me question myself, and I said, if I have to work with children like this, am I going to be able to deal with this? Am I going to be able to help them? Because it dives into psychological issues so deeply that you're like, okay, I really don't want to give it away, but it's that deep. And it's 4 omnibuses like long. So they're really thick. I think it's a total of, I think there might be 3 volumes in each. So it's a long series, and there's 4 of them. So there's a lot going on. If you can imagine, this first volume will have you like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, like any Shuzo Oshimi is like that. But this one for me, I think this one hit home. A lot of other people argue that it's not as deep, but I think because it's dealing with children on a different level, and it's dealing with just the pressures that they deal with in school, I think it hit me deeper. So this one, if you're ready to deal with psychological issues deeper than you ever thought, I suggest this one. I think this is not for a beginner, maybe someone who's been reading for a little while or is interested in psychology. So
interesting. Yes. Yeah. So are they high schoolers? Is she a high schooler on the cover, or are they? Okay.
Yep.
That's amazing. I remember, because did the last one recently release, or is it just more like, because I feel like I've seen you and maybe, I want to say maybe Destin, but I don't know if it was Destin or somebody else that had recently featured it, and talking about how good it is.
No, it's older. The most recent series that he has right now is Blood on the Tracks. Blood on the Tracks, and that one's crazy too.
Yeah.
Most of them are about kids.
Let's see. We're on G. For G, I decided to go with Golden Japanesque, a splendid Yokohama romance. I need to catch up on the series, but I really, really love how beautiful the art is in it, and just the premise of the story. And even though, like, I really dislike the mom a lot in the first volume, because I was like, I hate how you're basically tearing your child down, and are just like, and it's out of her own fear that she's doing that. And of course we see, with her mom being so afraid and just really harsh on her main girl, that like she's got these like self-esteem issues and very self-conscious and doesn't believe in her own worth. And so I'm not like a huge fan of like the boy meets girl, boy saves girl kind of thing, but I really do love like how I feel he is naturally encouraging her, not just from like a romantic aspect. And I'm just like, thank you. Like, she needs somebody to be in her life and encourage her. So I really enjoyed volume 2 a lot. And because this one was good, but volume 2 I felt definitely was even better. And I feel like it's an interesting shoujo in that it sort of like low key addresses like prejudice and just racial things that are happening. And I find that like really unique, because I feel like, in shoujo you don't get that. Usually you just get your romance and the drama. So it's been interesting. And the covers are like definitely super
They're cute. They're cute.
so
I've seen it, and you know, I I've never heard it put that way for this. It was always like, from what I've heard, a lot of people are like, oh, it's about this girl who's she's mixed and she was trying to be hidden, like they dyed her hair and
oh
stuff. And that's the only part that I got. And I was like, okay, that sounds dumb. But
yeah
for me, sorry, from my
yeah
perspective, that I mean, I actually will give volume one a try because of the way you describe it. That I mean, I like deeper things. Like you saw what Flowers of Evil. That part where she's like, her mother is doing this, you said, because of her mother's own fears. Like it all goes back to trauma and different things like that. She's putting that on her child. I like that kind of stuff. So I may give volume one a try. Thank you.
You will, yeah. I think it was Meet the Weeb Mom Family, or Meet the Weeb Family Mom. I mean, so I was trying to find a like non-spoiler picture, but was not successful.
Yes, it's difficult.
so hard. But I think it was her that she was saying that the series does hit a lot of those like shoujo tropes. But then when you have these other like like with the prejudice and her overcoming that somehow it still sort of flips things on its head a little bit and that makes it unpredictable in that sense, even though I think by the fourth volume, I'm assuming that there may be a love triangle because now there's a different guy on the cover, which I'm not fond of, but that's just a personal preference. But I'm hoping that still continues that. And I don't know, somebody said that she's not the worst mom in like manga, but I'm just like, nope. Like I'm like, she should be there for her kid, like otherwise she should have made different decisions. So end of rant. No.
True. I don't know if you've already guessed. I don't think I've talked about this enough, but for H, this I have been enjoying this more than I probably should. And I'm a fast reader. Not with Hell's Paradise. This is it is a show. It's a shonen. I'm sure it's a shonen, but I think it's more of a dark shonen. There are romantic elements because the main character, Gabimaru, his entire focus and force is to get back to his wife. This is why he's fighting through the entire thing.
Yeah.
You're dealing with monsters. The monsters are beautiful because they're going onto this island that's it's terrorizing, but it's also a paradise. You're dealing with a lot of the religious elements from this. So they're talking about Tao and different things like that, but it's still very samurai type. So it's that type of driven. There's a lot of battles, but there's a lot of life lessons and different things. Our second main character is a lady, and she's very strong and very powerful and very cool, and she's in charge of keeping him together. So it's really cool to see that happen. The further I'm getting down, I'm seeing that things may not be as it seems. If you can't tell by now, I love manga that has twists and turns.
Yeah.
It explains everything. So if it's talking about Tao, you're going to know everything about the Tao power.
Yeah.
I like detail like that. It's going to talk about every character. There's a backstory. There are funny moments. I've shown panels of this where I'm actually laughing out loud and staring at the page like, this is hilarious. No one's here to help me laugh. So I'm going to share this, I'm looking at my dog. This is hilarious. Like, but there's so much in this, and it's so sad. It is only 13 volumes long. We have 12 right now. Yeah, it's so sad, but right now it is all available. So this is a great one to start. I mean, if you're into that type of thing. It's funny how we were talking about a little earlier how they put beauty into trauma. Well, I can go backwards and say this is what's going on because everything is beautiful, but there's torture happening in the minds of these people. And that's why it's called Hell's Paradise. Like, it's a perfect title,
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love it.
Yeah, I have been eyeing it, and I have only heard really good things about that series. So that's another series I'll have to see if my library has.
Yeah.
Even though I'm like hitting my limit of like how many I can have on hold or like check out right now.
They're probably like, just that Laura lady's coming in. Just put it on the side. That a shoujo? That Laura lady's coming. Just put it on the side.
I swear, one of the ladies, like, there was one busy day and she's like, you have a lot of stuff to pick up. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, Thank you, and I'm sorry at the same time. My bad. Talking about intense shonen, I don't know if this is actually shonen actually saying that, but intense reads. I'm really excited to feature this one for I did ID Invaded Break Room.
Okay.
So I never thought I would love this. In fact, I would have never probably ever picked this up, but I got it from Mark's book manga club last year.
Okay.
And oh my goodness. So I was totally confused in this volume, but absolutely loved it at the same time. And I went and watched some of the anime and it made a lot more sense. And I don't know, it has like that psychology mystery, and he goes basically into these killers' minds, but it's all like virtual reality. Okay. And he has to find out their intent of why they're killing these people and tries to find the clues in their brain.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's so, I don't know, I felt like so mind blown when I was watching the anime, and I just never, like, the way that he breaks down and sees the clues of why he killed this person or who is the next person he's going to kill is just so, I mean, it's just so amazing to me. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's one of those, like, I don't want to say trippy reads. I feel like for what I personally usually read, that it's very much outside what I would read.
Okay.
It's very out there, but I mean that in such a good way. Like, I really do. And this one was just so fascinating because all of the brakes are broken. But the thing is if he gets into a car accident in like this virtual reality kind of thing, then he dies and he wakes up in the real world. And then so he goes back again with no memories, still trying to figure out what it is, but he has to like not die in that virtual reality, if that makes sense.
You know what it reminds me of a little bit? It reminds me of, and why can't I think of the name of it? When they used to go, and the guy he used to go into the minds and the bodies of others. It's from the 80s.
I don't know when the anime of this came out.
Well, no, it's a TV show, and there was a guy, and he used to go back into the characters of the people. He became the person, and he would help change their lives. I'm gonna think of it way later, and it's gonna be on like V, and I'm like, that one.
Oh yeah, let me know. Like, I'm not a huge like person of like, I guess, like mystery shows. I mean, I like them, but then I think it was like no, it was not Law and Order. I think it was like NCIS, and I had nightmares one time, and I said, nope, can't do it anymore because it just, I don't know if it was because I watched it at nighttime or whatever it is. So usually I don't read a lot of mystery like this, but I don't know what it was. It just hooked me, and I like went and have been waiting for volume 3. I have it, and now it's just sitting on my shelf looking pretty, and I'm just like, I love the first volume. Like, why haven't I finished reading the series? So because it's only 3 volumes.
Get in the mood, I think, for things like that. Like, even I'm thinking about looking at Death Note right now. Love Death Note. I love how everything's happening, but if I'm not in the right mindset, I just can't pick it back up. You know, and so that, I think that sounds so intense, like you said. It sounds like so much is going on that you have to be able to sit and just be able to take it all in.
That is so true. That is so true. Yeah, because like I said, I love the anime as well, but it's so intense. I know I have to be like in that, like I said, that right mindset where I can just take all of this in, because I'm like, it's not one you read to relax.
right.
Yeah,
Quantum Leap.
Oh, that's the name of it? That sounds really familiar.
It's an old TV show, but it was virtual reality for that time. And he used to travel back in time or into different people's lives. And one guy would become, like, he can become anybody. He could become the mom of the family. He could become the kid, but he helped change how things happen. So he, instead of certain things happening a certain way, he would play that person and find out what's going on and then try to stop it before it happened. Quantum Leap was the show back in the day, and I had to get special permission to watch it because it was like one of the late shows, like after 8:00.
Yeah.
Yes, that reminds me a little bit of Quantum Leap.
I'll have to check that out.
Go on YouTube.
YouTube?
It should be, they should have a few episodes, I'm sure. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to do that.
Next one, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you can guess, I have J, right?
Yeah, I struggle with J, so I got nothing.
I do, and I have
let me just
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. absolutely adore this. I think it's the funniest. It's bizarre. I think it's the
Yeah.
funniest series. Now I have part 4. There's right now there's 5 parts out. Apparently there's maybe 9, I think. So there's a lot more coming. There's
Oh my
so
goodness.
many JoJo's. It's been around forever. But
Yeah.
I think it's the funniest, most it is bizarre. Just the fight scenes are serious, but they're funny at the same time.
Yeah.
The characters are hilarious. My favorite Joe so far is the one Joseph Joestar from the second part. He's just funny. You will be laughing because it's just ridiculous. Some of the things
Yeah.
that comes out of their mouths. I love his art. I think it's the prettiest thing. I don't know. I love darks, and when it pops out like this,
Yeah.
like, cause I love Fist of the North Star too. Just look like the same type
Yeah.
of art. It's just an adventure about these people, the family. It's so much fun, and I think anyone who, if you're gonna collect one series and you're into shonen, seinen type stuff,
Yeah.
I think personally, I think this is the one. If you have no money to go anywhere else,
Yeah.
you'll get a full experience with JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, all the parts. And that's
Oh
just,
man.
I think it's a great. I think it's great. At first, I thought, like everything, I thought everything was stupid. I'm that type of person. I'm like, that sounds dumb, but that's just, I'm that kid. You like, you know what? Try it before you say anything. But
Yeah. Yeah.
this one shocked me. I could not believe that I actually liked it, and I'm up to date. Like I went and bought all of them. Of course, thank you Barnes and Noble for
Yeah.
having that 50% off sale of
Yeah.
hardcovers, because that's where I got it. But I highly suggest just read one volume. Just try it. I think there's something in there for everybody. That's just me.
Yeah, I remember seeing years ago when we first were watching anime on Crunchyroll and seeing the commercials for that and thinking that is so bizarre. Like I feel like the
Yeah.
title is so accurate for what I've seen. We're on K, right? Oh.
Yes.
So this is the one I changed up, and I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna do "Kiss Me at the Stroke of Midnight."
Okay.
So this is a shout out to Mark for her club and or manga club, and I have liked what I have skimmed through so far. I was gonna sit down and read it yesterday, but I was just too tired to like actually pick it up. So I told myself funny thing that I was like, I'm not gonna start any more manga series for a little bit, finish what I have. But here we are.
We are.
So it seems really cute, and they said it's like a Cinderella story. And it's funny, I read some of like the Marika's like notes and how she sort of wanted to definitely write like a romance with a celebrity, but she also wanted to capture that celebrities are real people too. But she's like, they do have a special aura around them that does make them a little bit different. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm pretty excited to start it. It looks like the art's really pretty. And
Okay. Oh, look at little cheeks. That's cute.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if this is a shoujo or a josei. Do you by chance know?
I don't know.
know.
I'm reading this out of peer pressure, basically. So I didn't read any backstories about it. And the thing about it is, I'm probably gonna love it. And I don't want to, but I think I want to say it's shoujo because she's younger.
Well, it sort of reminds me a little bit of Living Room Matsugane-san, but this one's a josei. No, this is shoujo, isn't it? See, I don't know.
Is it a shoujo?
Well, see, I thought because she's young that it would be, but I don't know.
But is it about him though? Is it a seinen?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I'm just gonna put that one there, and we'll just stick with this one. I don't know. So I guess I'll find out. But this one does seem more shoujo-like than the other one does. But it does give me similar vibes, a little bit to Living Room Matsugane-san. So just without like the boarding house, and I don't know. I feel like both of the girls have a good head on their shoulders. So I don't know, but it did remind me of that. So hopefully both of us will enjoy it, even though we were like, we're not going to get anything else. Well, I don't know if you said that, but I did say that.
Yeah, I do all the time. It's a terrible lie I tell myself.
It's so true. Yeah, it's so true. That's
well. Speaking of things I never thought I would read, and I had to hold it in and not laugh because for Earl. Living Room Matsunaga-san. Oh my goodness. I wanted to dislike this so badly because it was a romance. And because of the premise of his age, the age gap, I was just not interested. But they did it so. What was it? Iwashita did it very well. It's tasteful, and there's some parts where I have to go, okay, it's okay for now because they have the right motive, but such a wholesome story. It is hilarious. I love the fact that he was looked on very negatively because of his presence. But he is the biggest teddy bear on the planet. Like, he is sweet, he's caring, he loves everybody, he wants to do right by everyone, he wants everyone to be happy, basically. He cares hard. He loves hard. That's me.
Yeah.
I identify with him so much. I was like, oh, I'm the same way. I try to hold, but if I love you, there's nothing you can do to stop me. Like, it will take multiple times for you to really do something crazy for me to be like, you know what, I'm done with you. But I love so hard, and so just the way he cared for her, the way he cared for his roommates, the way he cared for his ex-girlfriend, I loved. It was so tasteful. Everything was done tastefully. So this, guys, if you're like me and you're not really into romance, there are 2 series I would tell you to start with, and this is one of them. Living Room Monster is really good, so I would pick that up.
I agree, and I felt the same way. I was very curious about it, but I was also very leery because of the age gap. And I really haven't finished it, but I have really enjoyed what I read, and it was definitely a surprise read for me because at first I did not like that guy at all. I was like,
really, yo.
I was like, he's so scary.
Yeah.
So, but the funny thing is, I felt bad because you said you really related to him. Though I didn't feel you were scary when I first met you, though. I thought you were just super cool and very confident. I mean, you're still very confident, but and you're still very cool. But that
I appreciate that outlook.
That's very cool you did that. So yeah, I told myself I was like, I would finish the whole thing after the final volume 9's out. I think volume 11's the final volume.
Is it? Okay.
I think so. So I told myself that's when I would binge read the rest. Well, fair to just re-binge the whole thing since I have not. I don't remember all of it. So
I can't wait. As soon as it came through the door, like when I got it, the Amazon guy came. I saw him come through my ring, and I said, "Living Room Monster Naga-san is here." And I went and grabbed it, and I jumped in bed, and I read it. That it was immediate. I popped up. I can't wait. So I almost want to read it digitally, but I'm not going to do that because I want to read it in this form. So wait for the next one.
I do feel if I would have kept up on it, I would be the same way.
Yeah.
I really feel like I would have because I remember laughing so much at the beginning too, and it was really good. It's really good. So yay for Living Room Matsukura-san. It's surprising he does both. For I'm really excited to feature this one. It's an older one, and that's Me and My Brothers.
Okay.
I have not read this yet. Well, actually, when this goes live, I will have read this with a friend. My friend Amy, I can't remember her last name, but we were going to buddy read this. And I have to confess that, usually I don't quite binge buy, but at Christmas, I got the first 2 volumes free, and then I saw overwhelming good reviews. And I'm like, well, this is an old Tokyo Pop, and people are like, it's so good for shoujo. At that time, I went and literally binge bought the whole series. 11 volumes.
Okay,
and I confess,
you might not find it anymore. It's old,
Yeah. I mean, I do confess I have not read any of it. I was like, I know what it's about, but I'm like, I'm hoping I love this because I'm like, I don't know anything about it outside of the blurbs and just the raving reviews. And so we will see. See. But it seems cute. And this was another one that had the little girl because I think the premise is that she was orphaned, and I don't know if they're all in orphanage, but they sort of adopt her as a sister. And it's sort of, I guess, all of the brothers' story and their life centering around her. So we will see what happens. After I read it.
I hope you like it.
I do too. I really do too. I said, otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to
do. Someone wants it. So always remember that. Someone wants it. You can sell it. It's fine. That's what I try to tell myself.
Yeah.
Somebody got this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for N, I chose No Longer Human.
Oh.
Now this was not written by Junji Ito. It was written by Osamu Dazai. He has I don't want to say, it's not a light novel. It's actually just a novel.
Okay.
But Junji Ito went back and made it into a manga. So he did the art. And we know classic Junji Ito art is, it's gory and whatever, but there's very few moments where a lot of gore is happening. There is some, don't
Yeah.
but the story is basically about a man that's trying to figure out, just come to senses with his life. There are a lot of bizarre moments in his life, maybe more than a normal human would have. I guess that I'm
Yeah.
part of the. But there are times where you're like, you know what? That's why he did that. Some of the choices he makes, some of the decisions he makes, and he's just really reflecting back on his life. So
Okay.
it's a very reflective story. But Junji Ito came through and made
Yeah.
it a manga and made it very there's a part in here where he's doing some things, some drugs. But it's, like I said, we're gonna move on. But it's a reflection of his life. So I mean, that's part of it. He's thinking about, I did this, and
Yeah.
then it really comes to a close at the end. So I appreciate this. I actually saw some kids at the school reading the actual novel, and I was like, hey, do you like manga, Junji Ito? They're like, Junji Ito, man. I was like, yeah, just go buy it. So it's cool to see them actually engaging in the actual novel, which I thought was cool. I mean, it's very deep for high school kids. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's deep for me. So I was like, wow. But I said, I think you would enjoy this as well. So it's something that can span because of the elements that's in it and the story that he's telling. So I think it's a really good one. A good one to start with Junji Ito too, because a lot of people don't really appreciate, or I don't want to say don't appreciate, but they don't really care for Junji Ito's art. And he's the funniest guy. I think it intrigues me more because he's one of the humblest, sweetest people. Have I met him in real life? No, but that's what I get from him because I'm a Junji Ito fangirl. Y'all know he has a shrine or whatever you want to call it, but I love Junji Ito. So I want to get everyone interested in him as possible. And I think this is a good place to start.
Yeah, I have a question about the cover. Does the dust jacket come off? Is there something on the inside?
Yep.
Oh wow.
It's very gory, but
I didn't expect that.
And this is just his family. It's interesting. Like there's a lot to it, and that's him and his partner, and it's just basically, I think this is my interpretation of the art that they're reflecting on their dark side. So there's a lot going on in this. There's a lot going on. I wish I could get to better detail, but it's one of those things where you're like, no, I want you to see for yourself. I want you to see, I want you to experience it the way I experienced it. Because I went to this one blind. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. That's a really big one for his.
Oh, yeah. I think he pretty much put the whole novel in there. So it's like,
wow.
Just doing the art and added to the entire novel. Now, the novel's pretty thin. So
okay.
I think it's just adding the art to it and keeping all the words and different things like that made it a big boy. It is a big one.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. For I think I say is Osan Idol. Is that how you say that?
Osan, yeah. That's what I would say it. You have a lot of Tokyo pop. That's cool.
I've been trying. Well, I will say, I have been very surprised by a lot of Tokyo Pop's newer stuff, and I have tried to be like where I try more of their stuff. I'm like, they sort of gone back on my radar a little bit.
Okay.
This one was pretty good. I discovered that I do like the idol stuff. I would never have imagined that because I don't really listen to K-pop. I listen to some J-pop. I feel like it's more J-rock. But anyway, so this was just really interesting because this guy here, I think like he was sort of a shut-in. He was really overweight and whatnot and was just never came out in public and such. But then the one time he actually came out and went to like a restaurant, he ends up like helping some lady who was, I don't know, this man was drunk and being very aggressive towards her. So he does like some kind of karate jujitsu move on him. And people are like, look at this guy. And so after that, he decides to sort of get his life back on track. He goes, signs up at a local gym, and he happens to go, I think it's like a karaoke bar, and they're like, do you want us to record your time here? He's like, sure, because it'll be fun to see me dance later. What he didn't know is that it went like viral. They put it on YouTube basically.
Oh my
and they're
goodness.
like, look at this older guy, because I think he's like in his 30s. Yeah, he's almost 40.
Oh, he's older.
Yes.
That's okay.
All three of them. I think he's the oldest guy here, and he's the youngest. Yeah.
Intrigued. You don't see stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah. My friend, she sent this to me because here's sort of like when the secrets of being cool, because then he also gets like this modeling thing, and he's just like, I just love singing, and his friend here, I don't know, so basically he gets him into it, and he used to love singing as well, and so they basically are like, well, let's go in this idol group and enter this competition, and people are like, because they're almost 40 or over, everybody's really intrigued because they can dance well and they can sing well, and so
I'm going to get that. Is that new? Is it newer? Oh, please be newer. I want it. I really want it terribly.
It's sort of new. Let's see. I think volume 5 is up for pre-order right now.
Okay, so yeah, it is fairly new then. I should be able to find.
It came out in 2020.
I'm getting it. I am so getting it. I'm getting all of them. I don't even care.
There they are.
I am going to laugh my head off because that sounds like so much fun.
Yeah,
it was the kind of manga I like to read when I'm like, you know what, I'm having a bad day. I'm gonna read Osan Idol because it's almost bizarre, but not really. Like, they're probably really serious about it, but from your perspective, you're like, what?
It's so true. I was the same way. My friend read it, and she's like, I feel like there is a little bit of a slow part. It's not. I feel like it's the beginning, so you're just sort of like how they came together. But I am very intrigued and have wanted the second volume because. Yeah, it's just, these old guys are forming an idol group. They're not young, and so they and the one dude, since he works, he's
great.
He owns a gym. He's like super buff. So I don't know. It's a cool one. It's a cool one.
I'm so glad you shared that. I am very. Can you see how excited I am?
Yeah, I can. I'm really excited because this one I don't even know what I was gonna do for O, and so I was like, we're gonna do this one because I haven't.
I'm glad you did.
Well, I hope you like it. If you read it, let me know what you think because
I will.
I think I have volume 2, 3, and 4 on my wish list, I think. So
I'm totally getting that. That is yes.
Go for it. Yay!
Yes. All right. So for P, I have the basic Parasite. I think this one is very known. Yeah. But it is older, but it is not old enough to where it's like outdated. It's a really good story. I think it's more of a story about friendship. There's the fighting elements and the aliens, but it's the friendship between him and why can't I think of his name? It's Migi, and that's the parasite gets into his hand and doesn't take over his whole head, and that's the whole thing. These aliens come down, parasites come down. Yeah. They're taking over the minds and eating brains, stuff like that. But it's really, I'm probably people are like, she is totally saying that wrong. But you know what? It's okay. We all get it. It is a friendship story because it takes two creatures, human and parasite, and you see how they work together and the bond that's built between them. That's how I read it. Throughout the whole thing, you see their relationship develop and how Migi, yes, that's his enemy, but he would do certain things to save his human friend. And it's just, I think it's cute.
Interesting. I have never heard anybody share about that manga that way. That I'm like, I would be curious to try that because the covers sort of creep me out. Like, so not that one's okay.
They are creepy.
But some of them,
Yeah, but and if you look at them, they're kind of goofy in nature. Like they're all back there, but they're goofy in nature. Like you have the twisted head, and here's there's some parts that are. There are some definite sad parts.
Oh, really?
I was upset at some parts, but I was like, okay, we're just gonna move on. Yeah. I rarely get sad like that, but this one hit me. But it really it's a story about friendship, honestly, how two different species can come together in the love. It really is.
Well, for Q, I'm really excited to do this one. I know I've said it for so many of them, but this one I tried at Christmas like a few years ago. It was not the right time, so I'm hoping maybe this time it will be because it's not Christmas. So this is QQ Sweeper, and it's
Okay.
like the series before Queen's Quality. So, and from what I remember is this guy, he sort of cleans out like these bugs. They're sort of like the negative things in our minds. And so he's the sweeper who goes to clean all of that out and leave like the good energy behind or positive thoughts behind.
Okay.
I was trying to find it.
I was like, manga can be about anything. And I'm like, it's a manga about people who sweep. Like how do you tie that? How do you make that story?
Yeah.
I see now. That makes sense. So he's cleaning out the bad energy, which is the dirt and stuff. Is it the mind or is it an actual house?
I think it's the mind, but like this scene when it opens up, it's in a physical house. So it's sort of like the bad stuff has manifested inside the house.
Okay.
So like where she's got like these weird bugs crawling on her, and then he comes, hopefully these aren't spoilers, but he comes and then he just does this. But there are parts where he actually goes, I don't know if it's in this one, where he sort of goes into her mind because there's a bunch of different doors. And yeah, I don't know if this is a spoiler. Hopefully it's not. But that just where there's a bunch of doors.
I wonder, what it might be like, and that makes sense. What was that cartoon from Disney or whatever, where they're all inside of the mind and they're controlling like...
I can see it where there's like anger, sadness, happy.
I wonder if it's that same type of like the house is like the call center and they go in and because if it's that way, then that makes sense. Like they're just saying that's clean out your house, meaning that's just like metaphor for If it's like that, then that makes sense, Yeah,
I don't know. I know Queen's Quality is pretty different because there's like, I feel like that one deals with more of like good and evil kind of thing, in the sense of like where she's got this queen inside of her, and depending on if the good queen rules or the evil queen rules, will change her to be either good or bad, more or less. Okay. And so it's a thing of, so that she'll stay good, so to speak, of keeping your mind clean, keeping like anger and jealousy, not letting those feelings take over, so that you sort of basically turn, because she can make anybody do her bidding, I think, so to speak, when she's in that queen mode kind of thing. I'm not 100% sure. I've only sort of read up to that panel that I showed you, because I did not. Okay. Like I said, I read it at Christmas time.
Yeah, that's the right time. I know what you mean. Yes, you're like,
Yeah, I was like, this is not Holly Jolly, so we're just gonna put this down. And I haven't came back to pick it up, but then I got it today from the library. I should have gotten the second and third volume, but I didn't think about that. But it supposedly does have, like, at least with Queen's Quality, there is a much stronger romantic thing, because I think in this one she doesn't actually know who he is, but I think they do have a history together. But she doesn't remember it. And I guess that's part of the whole thing of helping her with her memories or something. I'm not 100%.
All right. So this next one I have not read, but I've heard great things about it. And I think it's a little lighter than my other one. I was going to pick Rent a Girlfriend, but that is not for everyone. So I picked Record of Ragnarok. I think this is cool if you're into fantasy, which I don't know if you can see a theme. I'm huge into fantasy. I love fantasy. I read fantasy novels. And this is basically about all the gods that are, that are out there. Whether, I don't know how many different gods there are, but basically they're coming down to fight and have this big battle with the humans.
Interesting.
So it's a battle manga. I don't know if it's a shonen or a seinen or who knows what it is. Like we already talked about this. I don't know.
Yeah.
Older teen. So older teen, maybe it's a shonen. So who do we have in there? We have Thor. We have I don't know who Lubu is. But there's somebody called Lubu. I just think it'd be fun
Yeah.
And it's an early manga. That's why another reason why I chose is because there's only one volume out. So if somebody was coming on here for suggestions or they wanted to start, this would be a good place because Rent a Girlfriend's way into like volume 10. So
yeah.
Oh, and I just want to give a suggestion that you can start with it and try it out because there's only one volume out. So regular Ragnarok, and I'm gonna read this pretty soon because I'm into that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's Dags. She read it, right? And I can't remember if I watched her video review, but I feel like she really enjoyed it though.
She was very excited about it. That was one of the reasons I heard about it because
I did too.
I think there was some sort of anime or some sort of
she mentioned
something that was already out that everyone was waiting for this.
Okay.
And so when it came out, everybody was like, here. And I'm like, okay, what is this?
Yeah.
And she's the one I saw. She explained it. I said, oh, yes, I'm going to go grab that because it sounds interesting to me. So,
I didn't realize it was sort of like more of a battle manga. I didn't realize that.
Right. It's just them coming down and they're deciding if the human race will be extinct or not. So the humans are fighting for their the preservation. So I think it would be fun just to see all the battles. And I like that sort of thing.
Oh man, I can't believe we're almost like over halfway. So this is another manga I haven't read for S. I switched it up. The other one, I forgot which one I was gonna do. Oh man, well we're just gonna stick with this one. I just saw one with S, but I decided to go with Shortcake Cake.
Okay.
She's the same manga that did a Sign of Affection, and I was like, I know that me not reading her other series doesn't define my fanness for Sign of Affection, but I was like, I feel like I should check out her other work. So I saw this, like one day I went to the bookstore, saw it on a whim, and I was like, we are getting it because I love a Sign of Affection, even though I feel like this is I'm talking about that. I feel like this is like the low-key version of Living Room Matsugino-san, and I think on the back it mentions a smart new romantic comedy for fans of Shortcake Cake. So
okay.
So I'm assuming that I'm like, well, if I like Living Room Matsugino-san, I should like this one. And I'm like, same manga of a Sign of Affection. I have heard overall pretty good things about this. So here's to hoping, because I'm like, this is my next slowly working on getting. And
I've heard good things.
You have?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people really love Shortcake Cake. So
yay! Well, I'm glad. That makes me feel better.
I've heard a lot of people.
Awesome. I love like how it has the little cake on the back. That's just sort of cute. So, and she seems like a cool heroine. So
I like her hair and her eyes. That's cute. It's not typical, It's usually like big blue or big green eyes, but they never give, or like pink hair or like a pinkish, but it's blue and big brown eyes. So
that is true. That's a good point. Yeah, I think the second guy has green. Oh, well, he has green hair and green eyes.
Well, see, that's different too.
Yeah, that's true. That's
kind of pretty.
It is.
I like those covers. I like how dark the color part is. Like the pink is dark and the blue is dark.
This one's not quite that way.
Oh, they no, boo.
I thought the same thing. I was like, the blue and pink look kind of
they could have did better.
I think there is a yellow. I think we go back to solid colors at some point. But I love how they did the title and the background of both those. Yeah, it doesn't look quite as exciting with this one.
Good, no, I'm just kidding. Let me stop. Yeah. Okay. This next series. Oh, were you done? I'm sorry. I just got.
No, I was
so
done.
Sorry.
I felt bad because I was like, I don't know what else to say. But I'm glad we commented on the covers though, because I do like the covers. At least of the first two.
The third one. No, I'm just kidding. So for T, I did Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh.
And this one I read it once, but like we were talking about earlier, it just wasn't doing it for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I was still thinking about it, and so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna start straight from the beginning because I think I got to like maybe volume 6 or 7. I got far, and I guess my mindset just wasn't feeling it, but I kept thinking about it. So I said, okay, it did something. I think it is basic. I want to say it like that. Basic, that sounds bad. It's a typical trope.
Okay.
He becomes a ghoul and then of course he's fighting against the other ones, and he's half ghoul, half human.
Yeah.
And I love the way it started because the way he became one was kind of interesting. But of course, you can have all the bad guys coming out. You know what it reminds me of? On a slightly, it reminds me of Demon Slayer. It reminds me of Demon Slayer because where he's people are gonna like, well, he's human and he's ghoul, and they didn't know if they can trust him. Like there's one ghoul that couldn't trust him because he was still human, and then him trying to figure out this human part and the ghoul part, and and so of course they're seeking him out because he's there's a good side and a bad side, and they're seeking him out. So it's that type of thing. It's a little slow in the beginning, but another thing that I really loved about it is that it explains everything. It explains all the different types of ghouls. So they'll give you all the powers of this certain ghoul, and you'll have breakdowns of every. So I like that. Yeah. But I wasn't in the right mindset. But I enjoyed what I read. I think the art is nothing extravagant, but it's it's nice enough.
Yeah.
It looks very watercolory, if that makes sense. There we go.
Does. Okay.
And the covers are all really nice. I love the way the covers are. And so that's another reason why I bought it. It was for the covers. I am a cover buyer.
I am too. I was just about to say the covers are always so nice. I do like how it has that watercolor look on the cover for sure.
Right.
For you, I had to be a little bit creative with this one. I'm gonna do My Father is a Unicorn. So,
okay.
Because I was like, that's the only one. Well, I did find one, but I didn't have it. But I love this one shot. I've read it probably about 2 or 3 times, and the unicorn lore is just really interesting because basically the guy here, what is his name? Uno, that he his mom gets remarried, and he finds out that his stepdad can turn to a unicorn, and so his mom is like, I'm going on a business trip, go get to know your stepdad. And he's like, oh my goodness. And his stepdad is so kind that he feeds him grass when his mom's gone. He's like, well, this is the best thing that unicorns eat. Good and well, he ain't no unicorn like his son is. And it's the son anyway, trying to help his stepdad act more like a human, because he'll sometimes randomly turn into a unicorn in the house, and people are like, why does it sound like there's a horse upstairs? And it's definitely off the wall, but it is their relationship is very precious.
Okay.
So
I have so many questions, but how does the stepmom know that he's a unicorn? Or
she does, and there's
okay. I would have been like, no. If she didn't know, I would like, that's nope.
Yeah. So it was good. It was good. Like I said, I mean, it definitely makes you stretch the imagination a little bit.
Sure.
His theory is right there. He's like, I'll tell my mom.
Look at his little face.
So he's and he's really. I just saw it. He's really nice. He's really nicely drawn when he's in human form. So
he's pretty. He reminds me of course I'm not gonna remember him, but he was in Fruits Basket, and he was so extravagant. He did the fashion. Was he a horse too?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, so for V, I chose Vagabond. Now I may be doing some folks a disservice but they're reprinting this over and over again. I feel like this is never gonna go away. Of course, it's Viz.
Yeah.
One thing about Viz is that they will reprint. I've seen them reprint things so many times. So they will reprint. But this is probably one of my favorite samurai stories. Now, I have not finished it. I read it first. I got through 4 volumes. So there are 3 volumes in it, I think. So I read quite a bit.
Okay.
And I got through 4 of these. It has some of the most beautiful art. Yeah. I absolutely love his art, just the way the characters look. I mean, he looks beautiful to me. In a way, does such a good job. I mean, close-ups.
Wow.
Just beautiful art. And so that's one thing that makes me enjoy it more. But I didn't get through it because I was doing something else. And I don't remember why I stopped, but I'm going to start over again.
Yeah.
So get your hands on Vagabond. It is not finished. I hope he comes back to it because he's doing.
It's not finished?
It is not finished.
Oh my goodness.
He got sick and stopped. And you know that happens because they work so hard, especially when it's popular. Oh my goodness, I feel so bad for mangaka sometimes. But if you're interested in samurai, this is a great one. I know a lot of people have, there's what is the other one called? Blade of the Immortal. I haven't gotten into that one. It's pretty good, but that's my pick for samurai. It's almost as good as Hell's Paradise. They're equal in my mind right now.
I've heard that one's very hard to find, but it really looks really, really good. For W, I don't know how to say this one either, but I did Witch Hat Atelier.
Yeah, no one knows how to say that unless they're French. Atelier. I'm making that up. Atelier.
Yeah.
Atelier. Let's. I don't know.
That sounds very nice. So we will go with yours. So I feel like I do not talk about this series enough, but if I could say the one manga that shocked me the most and how much I enjoyed it would be this one.
Okay.
It made me feel like a kid again. There's so much childlike curiosity and so much exploration of adventure and of self and wanting to pursue your dreams, and then being brought back to down to earth because you made a huge mistake that you didn't mean, but you did it because you were excited. And it is so good, and it's very, very beautiful. The characters, especially Coco, the main girl, they're all amazing.
Is it kind of like a coming of age, like you see them grow in there or not?
I think so. Okay. I mean, much of it centers around that Coco wanted to be a witch, and she had this idea that a witch was good and whatnot. But yes, the witches that she meets are good. Like he's well, I don't know, a wizard, I guess, and he's really good. But he tells her, you need to be careful, and because I guess whenever they are when they draw, basically, he's like, no one can ever see, because if you draw the wrong thing, it's going to cause something to happen. And that's pretty much what happens.
Okay.
And so at least as this one progresses, she does meet like the darker, I don't know, I feel like they're just sort of like the dark, I want to say dark age, but she meets them and finds out that, you can use magic for good or you can use it for bad. Okay. And so I feel like it's sort of her growing, and because she unexpectedly becomes one and sort of has to maneuver her way through of, technically she was never supposed to be one, but due to circumstances she is. Not everybody's happy about it, and I feel like the childlike joy is really wrestled with at the end. I don't know if that made sense there, but it was, I don't know, it was very, very unexpected for me, because it's funny, I love fantasy novels, but like when it comes to manga, I am all here for the contemporary. It's really weird. I don't read contemporary novels, but I don't know, in manga I love it. So
that's interesting, because it's like I was saying, I do love fantasy in general, and if I could find a good fantasy manga, yes, but I would rather sit there and read a fantasy novel. Like I'll sit here and read Game of Thrones all day, or something like, and they're thick books, but I'll read it because I'm like, But with the manga, you're like, that's not what I envisioned. So I think fantasy is so much here.
That's true.
And when you look at it, you're like, that's not what I wanted it to be. So
that is really true. That is really, I mean, I feel like this one, I mean, interestingly enough, fantasy always, at least novels, are always big on those maps. You always need a good fantasy.
Yes.
And this is, I know it's in here. Yes. This is the first manga I know that gives you an actual fantasy map.
So they really did. They gave you the worlds.
Yes. So that was one of, I would want to keep reading. I love Coco, but the word building, I'm like, just let me go explore.
All right. So I only have one choice for X. Because there's very many. And like I was saying, you might be surprised. You might not be. I don't know. But it's Exogenesis.
I am. I have never heard of that.
Here, you have, but you must have forgot. TD McIntosh. You did an interview.
No way.
On your channel with TD McIntosh.
Yes.
This is the one that he wrote. And
I'm going to flip my computer upside down.
I was going through your video. I said, TD McIntosh. I said, wait a minute. And I went there. I was like,
no.
Hey, And I was like, oh, I can do X.
Oh my goodness. That is his manga?
Yeah, this is it. This is Exogenesis. This is the one. Now he did the story.
Yeah.
I don't think he did the art, but it is really weird. It's not weird. Here's the thing. It's a manga that I would have never thought would be a manga, but I think it's a great premise. It's
Yes.
basically about boxing.
I remember now that you're saying all of that.
And there must be more to this. I didn't finish reading it because it is intense. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of like home life. Like he's a youth that is like been getting in trouble, so he's going in and out of like juvenile, and then he's trying to find a good way and he can fight. So they found out how good he can fight, and then he went to this arena. It's like this whole big thing that's going on. I'm assuming he gets more powers or he gets another suit because they pay him. So they take his family basically out of poverty and they pay him to go do these fights.
Yeah.
He was good. He was going to jail for fighting at school, and he wasn't overall a bad kid. He just got caught up in some things, and so there's a lot going on. It's very intense, and some of the art, the color page. That's a good page to show the color page.
Yeah.
But it's basically just it's a boxing manga. So I'm gonna go back and read it when you gotta be in that mindset. Here's him training.
Oh man.
So yes, when I saw that on your page, I was like, yes. So there we go. That's it.
Man, I can't believe it didn't even register. I mean, once you kept talking, I was like, I do even remember him mentioning that, and I just felt my Manga card needs to be temporarily revoked there for a second.
No.
Man, that is so wild. That is so cool. That is really really awesome. Man, I should have done one of the indie manga I have, or not indie manga, but like.
Right, kind of like alternative, not like the
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. That is so cool. That was awesome. We're on Y, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, so I went with Yu Yu Hakusho because it was either Yu Yu Hakusho or Yona, but I wore my Yu Yu Hakusho shirt today, so I was like,
nice.
oh, Yu Yu Hakusho. I didn't expect to love this as much as I did. I got the recommendation from the Manga Sloth for like a different video, and oh my goodness, I just really enjoyed it. Really? I feel bad because I've seen a little bit of the anime, like very little, and I say very little because there are chapters in this one that I absolutely adore. Okay. But they're not in the anime, and I was really upset because it's like, how dare you not animate my favorite chapters, Yeah. So I have not finished the anime because of that, but I've heard it's just as good. It's just, I think the anime is more focused on like the battles and whatnot, while this one I feel like is like his early days before the battle begins, and so he's sort of going like, there's this one chapter that's the one I love where it involves like a dog and this young master. It was so wholesome and so sweet. And I'm just like, you see a different side of him that's not all about fighting. So, or at least where fighting can be used to encourage somebody else more or less. I'm really hoping that this will eventually come back in stock because this is one series I didn't plan to actually like want to pick up. And I only found this one got this one because of Maeve. Maeve Ever Reading.
Okay, yeah.
I have been looking for volume 1, but they're all so ridiculously priced. It's like ridiculous right now. It is so ridiculous. But yeah, I understand now why people are like, Yu Yu Hakusho is so good, because I'm like, it's really good. I
wanted to try it. Yeah, I wanted to try it, but I just, you can't, it's good because you can't find it.
Yeah.
and people want to sell it for, like you said, high prices. So you're like, I'm gonna have to pass on that one. It's unfortunate, but maybe one day. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? One day. I feel like that's what we keep saying for so many manga. Like one day, just keep waiting.
All right, so I guess this is it. This is an obvious one.
Oh man.
Oh, did you see it already?
No, I didn't. The only one I can think of was Zelda. Oh, that's so good.
I don't have any Zelda, but yeah, Zom 100. I'm still enjoying it. We talked about it before. There are times where it kind of gets a little slow, but still want to see him reach all of his goals, and I think that's what keeps me going and buying it. Like I'm actually, if I go out there today, I'm gonna look for an early copy of Volume 5 because this is another one that I'll bring it home and I'll read it because I just think it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Just seeing, and even with his little face, how excited he gets when he's like, oh, check that off, or oh, let's do this, and when they get the ideas, it's just so cute. And I highly recommend it to everyone. I'm trying to find my favorite part. Oh, this is the part that got me laughing. I don't have to go to work anymore. When he found out there was a zombie apocalypse, he's like, I don't have to go to work anymore. Like, many of us had that feeling. We're like, man, if a zombie apocalypse happened and I woke up, I'm like, I'm going back to sleep. I don't have to go to work. Let me just secure the doors.
Yeah.
And go back to sleep. I don't have to go to work today. So
yeah.
This one is a lot of fun. And even with his bucket list, I think it's listed at the front or at the end maybe. But it's so funny to see the stuff that's on there. Is it on here? Yes, it's right here in the back. So some of the things he has is, I can't wait till he does number 5. I'm a locked person, and number 5 is try out dreadlocks. And then one is pig out at a nice sushi restaurant, wine and dine, a flight attendant, just stuff. Paint and oil painting, just really cool things. And I almost was like, you know what? I need to make a list. Why not? And it says 100 things I want to do before becoming a zombie. So he's guessing that he's going to become a zombie at some point. But those 100 things, I'm like, I need to write a list, a bucket list. It'll be fun. Yeah. So that is my pick for Z.
That is so good. I love how vibrant all of those colors have those really bright neon backgrounds. Well, thank you so much. This was so much fun. Yeah. And I feel like my TBR pile is probably just figuratively falling on me already at this point. So yeah, this was great. Please, guys, go subscribe to Keke's YouTube channel and go follow her on Instagram and Twitter too, right? You're on there as well. Mm-hmm. I will leave all those links down below so you guys can check them out. As you guys see, she has such awesome reading taste, and yeah, let her go add stuff to your TBR too, and not just to mine. So yeah, so thank you again, Keke, for doing this with me.
Yes, thank you for having me. That was fun.
It was. I learned about new manga. Want to get new manga? Well, we hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, not just to my channel, but Keke's too. And thank you guys so much, and see you guys later. Bye!